Hey everybody, welcome back to Gun Totin' Minnesota. My name is Andrew, and today I have the privilege of telling you about the new Osight color variation for the Osight S. So if you didn't see my previous video, I have already done a review on the Osight S, and I'm really liking it. There's a lot of neat features about this, not the least of which, the fact that it's rechargeable the same way that their flashlights are. I've run a number of Olight products on my channel for kind of a long time now, and these enclosed S's are probably one of my favorites for any Osight Olight product yet. I think this is a little bit more low profile. It's RMSc pattern, so it fits on a couple of pistols that I like to run. And now it comes in this kind of greenish tan configuration. I think it's actually green is the coloration they're going with. To my eye, it looks like kind of a cross between the two of them, or a lighter color of green, but it's a really neat optic. If you can tell, it does have, let me make sure I can actually focus here, it does retain some rear sights. So on this SIG, I actually have to take off my rear sight in order to install an optic. One thing about that that's always bothered me is I like having those either as a reference point, as a backup safety. Maybe I'm just old school and I just really like having that. But because this is RMSc pattern and it's going to fit great on a lot of carry guns, I think they decided to keep that, and it doesn't inhibit the function in any sort of way. It's a nice low profile. It sits in really well on the pistol, and you don't have to worry about ever taking this off like some RMSc pattern optics to get at a battery underneath and switch out it every year. This one, again, is just rechargeable. So everything I need to access is right there on top or on the sides. And you can see you have your windage and your elevation. And you just use the tool that's included to get that zeroed in. And it's actually what I'm doing right now. So personally, when I'm zeroing, I like to use the dot, not the dot plus the circle or just the circle halo. I like to use the dot for precision when I'm zeroing. And then from there, whether I'm going to hunting or maybe a little bit of competition use, whatever your application is, then the other dots make the most sense. In my opinion, centering with just the dot to start with is the most practical. It helps when the gun actually shoots. Get a bad round. It could be a light strike. Okay, so I tried to use my iron in this rear just to give a general reference point to start with, and it's really close. It looks like I need to make a slight windage adjustment. Another thing I like about the Osight S and Osight X is I found them to get plenty bright when it's, actually pretty sunny out, or even against snow as a contrast. Sometimes the snow and the sun, it's so bright it's actually hard to see some dots. They fade out really badly. But I have not had that issue on either the Osight S or Osight X. I found both of them to be totally bright enough. And actually, today is really dull, and so they also get dull enough. There's not a lot of light out, it's about to storm, and I don't need, intense illumination or a intense dot. I actually need to back it off so I can get a finer, more precise hold like you would normally at sundown conditions. That window, even though it's an RMSc pattern, even though it's low profile and it's not huge and it's enclosed and all that, I still find that, getting a lot of bad rounds today. This American Eagle stuff has given me a lot of problems. Actually, it's Federal suppressor ready, that's what it is. Even though it's not a huge window, I find I can find it really quickly. It's not hard for me to put up. I'm not sure if it's the fact that it retains that rear sight in there. It's just so much quicker for me to find, but I'm not, even though it's a smaller window, I'm not fishing around trying to find that thing. And a lot of that is going to have to do with the natural point of aim that you have, the angle grip on your pistol, and I guess how much time you have practicing with that pistol matters a lot. But for me, I just don't seem to have a lot of trouble with finding the dot. I am having a lot of trouble with this ammo though. I'm gonna have to switch over and try something different here. Enough of the junk ammo. I switched over to some higher quality ammo. I think the pistol runs on this much better. I'll have a better time with it. every year, about spring until late fall, I have kind of a gopher problem where I'm at. It's really sandy, there's clay over there, but in this sandy bit, I seem to get gophers every year running around, and a 22 pistol is one of the best tools that I can have for the job. 22 rifle, of course, is very nice and precise, but it's not uncommon for me to get a 10 or 15 yard shot. Now, in order to not scare some of my employees or some of my friends, I use this with a can on it so that it's quiet. That's kind of the whole idea, but I don't want a big, huge footprint for what I have. It's just gonna get thrown in a bag, and I need to be able to pull it out and shoot pretty quick from either a lock safe, or if it's on my side, something like that. And this optic I can leave on for a very long time. If I'm really concerned about it, it's got the hood. And that's one thing that I think people are missing, and they underestimate how useful the hood is. The hood on this optic allows you to get a nice solid charge, a good strong charge every time you're about to take it out and use it. You can charge overnight. It does charge really, really fast. I find that charge times with this are not slow. I think they're pretty reliable, actually, for the price point and what you can do with it. I'm getting quite a few charges out of this. I'm not even down on my battery hardly at all after, a week of using it so far. So I find that these are pretty reliable. They stay on there. They're not going to get lost. You can use the lanyard if you think it's going to get lost. And these themselves charge up pretty quick as well. I've never had an issue with them. The conductivity is perfect, and I don't get these, super marred up or dirty. I think even if it was to get a little bit hard used, it still would make connectivity because there's 3 pins in there, and it's going to find a way to make that connection and get the proper charge. So I find this to be a reliable device. It's a pretty useful device, and I think it's underestimated. All right, now I need to practice real quick here on steel. This is going to be an awesome gopher getter, and I like this new coloration. It's kind of neat. All right, I went back to 50 yards. The rain has started, so I probably don't have a lot of time here, but at 50 yards, let's see what I can do on a 6-inch plate. That's not too bad. I was hitting the center post a handful of those times. That's really not too bad at all. I find that the dot size is very, very precise if you need it to be, and I can bump up that illumination, make it a little bigger. Or if I get a little further back, I actually maybe would hold down the minus button for about 5 seconds, and that will switch me over to the donut. And I like the donut. I can actually put the target inside of the donut at distance if I really needed to, and the zero worked out that way. Or you can use some of the little reference markers, cross hashes on the donut. There's just a lot of versatility to this little optic, and I find it to be very, very desirable. And now you can get it in more colors. So that should cover the gamut of people who maybe they just wanted to match their gear. Maybe they want, more reticle options. Osight has you for reticle options. And I think I'm gonna mess around a little more today with some of these reticles. They are fun, but this is going to be my gopher getter for close range shots this year. Well, storm's coming in. This is going to have to be just a first look